It's been a long week, right? Are you ready to wind down? Why not? It's time for the Wine Time Fridays podcast with Shelley and Phil. Neither are sommeliers, but both have a deep passion for life, each other, and of course, delicious wine. And now, here to talk about this week over a glass of wine is Shelley and Phil. It's wine time!
Hello and welcome to another episode of Wine Time Fridays with Shelley and Phil on this Friday, May 24.
The Queen's birthday.
Happy birthday to the Queen. Actually,
Victoria Day.
Our guest today might actually know about a little something about that, yeah?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, so episode 214, Happy Friday, Shelley. It's wine time.
Friday.
Where's your wine bill?
I don't know, you didn't bring it.
I had it.
Oh,
Your
no.
wine bill.
No, we don't need it.
Yes, we do.
Do you know about the wine bell?
No, never heard about the wine bell, but I'm excited.
Sorry.
There we are. Now we're proper. A quick recap on the wine bill. Luke, we were on 10 acres in Athol for many years, working our butts off. And so Shelley's got a very soft voice, which is why I usually put this microphone a little closer to her. And to get my attention for wine time, we put a wine bell on the house and she rang it. So that's been a moniker.
Got you coming running home. I'm coming.
Well, yeah, my run doesn't look like a run anymore, but there you go. Today, we have, all the way from Australia, even though he's in Chicago right now, but he is the international marketer for Mollydooker wines.
See?
Seriously, Lucy, stop it. Get out of there.
Just put her in her kennel.
Come on, in your kennel. Good girl. Jeez Louise.
So it's global sales manager. Just letting you know. Just for
beautiful. Thank you. We have the global sales manager for Mollydooker, the blue-eyed boy himself, Luke Marquis. Luke, thank you for joining us on Wine Time Fridays.
No, thank you. I'm excited to be on here. Lovely to meet you both. And it's a beautiful Saturday, as we both said. So drinking a nice glass of wine and celebrating with friends, that's what we love doing.
You know, after I say, to introduce you in our show notes, I'm like, let's start pouring. We have 6 Mollydooker wines to pour through. And so we're going to, gosh, there's so much to go through on this first bottle. Shelley and I are actually standing up because Mollydooker is a very unique winery. As Luke pointed out off air, much like Guinness, that's got the nitrogen that infuses it with nitrogen makes it. The science behind it, I'm really kind of stupid about. So right now we're going to open up our very first wine, which is 2021. Oh, I haven't done my redo. The 2021 Maitre Cabernet Sauvignon from Mollydooker. So we've got the Mollydooker shake that's about to come. And I would like to try to do this without instruction. Since we've done it before, we should know.
You should know.
What we do is we open the bottle. Can I borrow your glass?
Yes.
And we give just a little pour so that it's right down the shoulder of the bottle. Am I correct about that?
100%. Yep. Perfect.
Okay. Then you recap it. And recap it well, by the way. With the cap in your left hand, you turn it over and we give it the Mollydooker shake. We get to do this 6 times today.
Your arms are going to be sore tomorrow.
And so I don't know if you can see this, but look at that foam. Okay. Now, we're not done yet. We're going to crack that. Let it breathe a little bit, right?
Listen to it. Put it too close to your ear. It sounds like Rice Krispies. That's the nitrogen escaping from the bottle. Can you hear it?
So do you wait till you can't hear it anymore?
No, and then cap it again, turn it upside down, and shake it exactly like a cocktail. Like really beat it up.
Beat it up. we are going to have music on that. Okay, so open it again.
And now the wine is ready to drink. You might not be able to hear it there. You can hear it when it goes. For the listeners of today's podcast, when you do it at home, put it close to your ear. It's really cool. But then what's really impactful is actually trying the difference. So smell and taste the pre-shaken glass.
Exactly. That's why. So we're going to do, a huge mistake on Luke's part because of travel. He has no wine in front of him. But the upside is he knows these wines inside and out. So, to health, wealth, and abundance, gratitude, romance.
He's like,
Cheers.
cheers. Still good without the shake.
So I have the shaken. I drank the shaken first. Yep.
Oh yeah, I see the difference.
So the you can keep that. The non-shaken is very tight. I'm gonna bring it up.
Okay.
Okay. The non-shaken is very tight. The shaken, just unbelievably much more smoother. Walk us through the science behind that, please.
Yeah. So I think it's, for those of you listening, so Mollydooker, the word is an Aussie slang word for a left-handed person. So you would have heard Phil talking about putting it in his left hand when he went to do the shake. That's celebrating who we are as a company. We'll talk about the left-handedness in a little bit. We'll talk about the shake. So the shake came about on a complete accident. So we started using nitrogen in our winemaking process to reduce the amount of sulfur that we have to use in our winery. So we use about 35 to 40% less sulfur than if we didn't use nitrogen at all. But what nitrogen does is it's such an amazing preservative that it actually does too good of a job at its own job. So I always relate it back to Guinness, nitro coffee, but also in wine. So we explain a flavor molecule like a big round ball. When you add nitrogen to anything, it actually flattens the back end of the ball. So it makes it just seem constricted or muted. So like in a Guinness can with the widget, if you open the Guinness can, the widget allows the nitrogen to escape, the dissolved nitrogen to escape. And then when you drink it, it becomes creamier, rounder, smoother. So for those of you who, if you cut the can open, the nitrogen doesn't escape, it actually tastes different in a Guinness. So it's the exact same science with our wine. So the reason why you get 2 glasses, you pour a little bit out to get the ullage. And a lot of people have got a little misconception on nitrogen saying, oh, you're just aerating the wine. That's actually not correct. So what we're doing is we're agitating the dissolved nitrogen out of the wine to open up the flavor profile. So a lot of people are like, why don't you just put it in a decanter? Decanting it doesn't do the same process. We've tried it. So when we started using nitrogen, my mom and dad, our 2 founders and original winemakers, they were tasting the wine over 3 months. They were tasting it. And all of a sudden, all the flavor diminished. And we were like, and Mum was like, wait, what just happened? And Dad's like, well, the only thing we're doing is we're not unique in using nitrogen. There's a lot of wineries that use nitrogen in the bottling process. But we use nitrogen at every single step, from fermentation, from barrel aging, from moving from tank to tank, from blending, from sparging, everything. So we're using nitrogen at so many more points. So even when we blend the wine, instead of blending it over with a pump, we put nitrogen gas in the bottom and let it bubble through so that it blends the tank all together. So Mum was like, where'd all the flavor go? And Dad's like, well, the only thing that we're doing is we're adding nitrogen to the wine. Surely it wouldn't add flavor. Surely it wouldn't affect the flavor. So what Dad is, grabbed the glass, put his hand on top of the glass, and he shook it. He just decided just to shake it, just randomly. Tasted
on it. On the glass itself. So you had wine in there, and it was like that.
Nice. The wine was already in, and he just shook it just for fun, just because we were on the tasting bench. And then they tasted it like, well, there's all the flavor again. But how are we supposed to do that in a restaurant? Imagine, during COVID, where a server went like this with your glass and gave you the glass of wine. That wouldn't have been Yeah, that wouldn't have gone down too well during that 2020 year. So, but that's why we before we even marketed it. This is back in 2006. Dad was traveling all around the world, launching our new company, and he was shaking all the bottles behind the scene because it was so unnormal. It was so right. I would say we challenge tradition. We love tradition, but we're not standing it. We're not in we're not in suits and a ball gown. You know what I mean? So you guys, yeah. So he was in Hawaii with a guy called Warren Sean. He was the head of Southern Glaciers Wine and Spirits in Hawaii at the time, and I think he still is now. Great partner of ours, and he saw Dad doing the shake, and he left behind. He goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Well, this is what we need to do." He goes, "You need to do that in public, because as soon as you see it, it's the FOMO. Everyone's like, wait, what's going on?" It creates a question. It's like the espresso martini effect. You know, when someone makes an espresso martini, everybody on the bar wants to buy an espresso martini. You mean, it creates that. But so many people don't know about it. The people that do know about it, they love it and they love sharing it. And what I always say, we've received 5 99-point wines in our history by Robert Parker, Wine Advocate, and they never did the Mollydooker shake on it. So what would have we got if they did it? Wow. You know what I mean? That's what's so wild, is that all of our wines are graded. We still got multiple 95 plus points. You know, points is something that we'll talk about later. You know. Sure.
They're a nice indicator, I guess, you know.
But at the same time, it's you know, people don't know the full understanding. So yeah, so that's the science of it. So a lot of people tell me I travel around the world. I manage 27 countries of distribution. And so many people come up to me like, "You shouldn't shake a bottle of wine." I'm like, "Why not? Tell me not. Tell me why. Give me one scientific reason why." And they're like, "Well, it's not normal." And I was like, "Okay, we're 2024 now. Nothing's normal anymore." Do you know what I mean? I've said this to a lot of people that wine is art. And that's why we love it. That's why we're on this phone call right now. Wine is art, and there's different wines all around the world. But the only sad thing that I find with wine is that in artists, if they do something different, other artists celebrate it. In food, if chefs do something crazy and really well, every other chef celebrates it. And then in music, it's like when Pink Floyd came out, everybody didn't know how to explain it, but everybody loved it. So as soon as you do something different in that art or fashion, you do something crazy, everybody celebrates it. But as soon as you do something crazy and different in the wine community, they're like, "Nah, don't do it." So it's a really interesting, and probably the only upsetting thing that I have about is just like, if you do something so different or progressive or chat, you know, innovation isn't always liked. You know, that's what I always say.
For sure. And the wine industry is steeped in tradition.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that it should never be questioned or challenged or tried to improved upon, right?
It will have to be now with the global warming.
Oh yeah, I mean, for sure.
Well, we'll talk about the next generation of wine drinkers and how we need to bring more fun into wine. We've done such a great job of complicating wine to the nth degree that young people just don't know it, because they look at it, they look like we got 3 heads on us. You know, if you start talking about soil, they don't care about that. So the Maitre Cabernet. So we do the Mollydooker shake on all of our bottles, every single one of our still reds, not our sparkling reds. You can just don't be inside, and we don't shake.
Don't be inside and keep pointing at someone unless you're pissed off at them.
Yeah, exactly. So the Maitre is named after my father. He put himself through college being a left-handed waiter, left-handed Maitre, left-handed waiter at the local restaurant.
Wow.
And that's Sparky.
Yep, Sparky.
As an aside, and I will pull this out, I know that there have been some ownership changes. I mean, your mom now owns it, correct?
No, we can talk about it completely. We always talk about it.
Okay. We will definitely do that, because we want to talk about how Sparky and Sarah really just took off on this. We are now about to open the 2021 Two Left Feet, one that we see here in Coeur d'Alene often. And also down at Coeur d'Alene Fresh, one of our sponsors today, Shelley, I'm going to give you the honors this time.
No.
Why not?
No, I want you to do it.
Well, you're a freaking diva and you won't do it?
Because I'm a diva.
Because you're a diva. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, okay. So what's the recommended time to do the Mollydooker shake on the first
anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds. 5 to 10 seconds is good. Yeah. And as I said, you can't shake it too hard. You know what I mean? As I said, that's why I get it over the shoulder and really like a cocktail. So yeah, then close it one more time. The most important part of the whole routine is putting the cap back on, Phil. I cannot put
Yes, you're right about that.
But the thing is, we wouldn't release our wine to drink unless it was phenomenal without it. So that's the thing. There's so many club members. There's people all around the world. They're like, I've loved Mollydooker for 17 years, since day one, and I never knew about it. You know what I mean? So we wouldn't release the wine. This was great. As you said, it was phenomenal without the shake. But everybody in their life, in their business, in their family is looking for 1%. How do I make more money? How do I run quicker? How do I be a better parent? Or how do I be a better partner? And that 1% for us is the Mollydooker shake.
Yeah, I love it. A friend of mine, Les Sargent, Les, you get a shout out on this. We've talked about the Mollydooker shake an awful lot. This is a blend of Shiraz and, is that correct?
Shiraz, Cabernet, Merlot. So it's 70% Shiraz, 15% Cabernet, and 15% Merlot. So it's a really unique wine because we have, so this is part of our Lefty series. We have four red wines part of our Lefty series. We have the Boxer, the Two Left Feet, which we've got, the Maitre D, which we've just had, and our Scooter Merlot. So the Scooter, the Maitre D, and the Boxer are all 100% varietal. Our Boxer is 100% Shiraz, Maitre D 100% Cabernet, Scooter is 100% Merlot. But what Mum does is she finishes those three wines and then she blends those three wines into the Two Left Feet. So it's not byproduct. It's not the offcuts. It's not what we don't. It's actually finished product. And then she blends it into the Two Left Feet. So it's really cool wine to see. So yeah, so 15% of the Maitre D Cabernet is in that bottle. And then 70% of the Boxer Shiraz that we're going to try next is in that same bottle.
Very, very
That's
nice.
complicated.
Well, so these are, you blend these, you already know what the blend is going to be?
Yeah. So it's always about 70, 15, 15. Sometimes it can be up and down 1 or 2%, but as a pretty good guide, if you said 70, 15, 15, you're pretty accurate. So Two Left Feet is named after my parents. So my mum, if you look at the label, my mum loves to dance and my dad couldn't dance. It's my dad standing on my mum's toes. So it's actually a cartoon character of them dancing.
That is so awesome. So this is blended in the barrel then? And then
no, it's blended post barrel aging, post barrel fermentation, post filtering, everything. And so the Shiraz, the Cabernet and the Merlot, they're all finished. They're getting ready to be bottled, and then we take a couple thousand liters from each and blend them together, blend them through, and then bottle into Two Left Feet.
So one of the can I say complaints as a whole about Australian wines is their heat. Both of these first two bottles are 15.5.
Huh?
Is that something that the alcohol thing?
Different down there.
Yeah, the alcohol thing is it isn't always, you don't take it as face value all the time. Talk a little bit about the 15.5s on these. Is there any way that you can control that, lower that, or is it this is what you're going to get?
Well, yeah, so we have a very unique watering program. So we don't do the traditional dry grown, low yielding old vineyards. We actually irrigate our vineyards up to 8 hours of water a day. So we can talk about that a little bit later. It bucks every single trend. So we water all the way up until harvest, including on the day of harvest. We're still irrigating on the day of harvest. So we harvest 4 weeks later than anybody else. But alcohol is a very funny conversation because everybody drinks whiskey and bourbon and scotch, which is way higher alcohol than wine. And I always find it that I've never had someone guess our alcohol correct because most people think it's at about 13 to 14%, and we're sitting at 15.5 to 16.
Exactly. It does not taste 15.5 at all.
Yeah, alcohol is all about balance. Alcohol is all about that. Wine is about balance. You can have high alcohol, high acid, high tannin, but you got to make sure that the flavor is encapsulating it all, that it is works synergistically together. And that's what we say with Mollydooker. We have high alcohol, high tannin, high acid, but there's so much flavor that it is so balanced. I was in Florida last year, and I had a master som come up and talk to me. They're like, we love Mollydooker, but whenever we sell Mollydooker, we explain it like to people, we're like, it's Sylvester Stallone in a tutu. Big and boisterous, but very delicate at the same time. You know, so we take our winemaking very seriously. What is inside the bottle, there's so much going on, but outside the bottle, who we are as a family is exciting, fun, energetic, creative labels, you know, exciting marketing. There's nothing timid about who we are.
I have to say that if someone was to ask me one word to describe Mollydooker, the brand, I would say fun. Having visited your website multiple times, it is flat out fun, and it's easy to navigate, and it's full of information. And of course, the labels are fun. The Mollydooker shake is fun, but it's all backed by science and quality, which, you know, clever labels get a bad name because you're kind of like, well, I'm going to buy the wine from the label, and the juice inside is typically not great because they're going for that consumer picking off the label. But if you can get something that's fun and good, that's the best of both worlds. That's like Wine Time Fridays. We're fun and good.
Okay.
Oh, okay. But so kudos to that for sure. We need to take one quick break because we're going to take a break after 2 bottles each time. And when we come back, I want to talk about nicknames, please.
Yeah, I'll give you a little. So Mollydooker, I'm going to give you a little background. Mollydooker, the word is invented in 1930s. So that's when the origin of the word came about. So Popeye was also invented in 1930s. That's why our boxer looks like Popeye. And so all of our cartoon characters actually go back to that same age. The Blue-Eyed Boy and the Giggle Pop photos look like they're between the war. So all of that, so it's everything on Mollydooker is actually goes back to the origin of the original word that of when the word was created. But nobody knows that. Everyone just thinks it's fun labels, yeah. But there's so much thought process into every single label that goes back to its origin.
You guys have really thought things through. Did you do this as a family, or did you have a marketing firm that guided
Mom did it all. Mom did it all.
Oh, good for her. Sarah, you're awesome. We tried it, Sarah. She's like, no, I'm Luke on. I don't think that's exactly what happened. Luke didn't laugh, so I'm recanting it. No.
No, yeah.
So, yeah, talk about your nickname. We have your sister who's Gigglepot. You are the Blue-Eyed Boy. As I open this 2021 Mollydooker Shiraz, the boxer, which we have 2 of these bottles also downstairs in our cellar because we love it. And this is the most prominent one that we can get around. By the way, the first 3 bottles, $30, give or take, US, and 15, 5. This is 16. So, Luke, talk a little bit about
$16 or
16% alcohol.
Okay.
Talk a little bit about the nicknames for you and your sister and your mom and your dad.
Yeah. So the boxer, if you look at the label, Phil, if you look at the label on the boxer, do you know what's wrong with him?
Oh, this is a trick question. Help me, Shelley.
I don't know.
He's got
We're not that bright. He's got 2
left-handed gloves. Yeah.
Oh.
So as we said, Mollydooker is an Aussie slang word for a left-handed person. So we're a left-handed company. The reason why we're called Mollydooker is because my mum, my dad, and my sister, they're all left-handed. I'm the only right-hander in my family. But when we started our company, we had 11 full-time employees. Of that 11, 7 of them were left-handed. So it's only about 10%.
That's an amazing percentage.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's about 10% of the world is left-handed. It was almost 70% of our original business was left-handed. So the Boxer Shiraz has been awarded by the best valued red wine in the world by Bob Parker, but also the best Shiraz on American Wine List 3 times. So yeah, it's our largest distributed product. We make about 45,000 cases of it a year. It's distributed in at 27 different countries around the world. So the nicknames, Blue Boy. Well, I got blue eyes, and
but you're not watching on YouTube. He just said, "I've got blue eyes," and lean back and he kind of bats his blue eyes. Haven't done that very much, have you, Luke?
Yeah. So we had a brand before Mollydooker called Marquis Phillips. For those of you who remember Marquis Phillips, the old Rugal, Sarah's blend. We had a wine called Holly's blend. So my sister's name is Holly. So she had a wine named after her, when she was younger. And then when we started Mollydooker, we didn't have any wines, and Holly was 7 years old, and she was complaining to Mum. She's like, "Why don't I have a wine named after me anymore?" I never had a wine named after me, so it didn't bother me. And so Holly was complaining as a 7-year-old, like, "Why don't I have a wine named after me anymore?" So then we came up with a new range, which is what we call our family range. And Mum named the 2 wines, one after me, one after Holly, which is great, though, because I say it's the smartest marketing in the world, because now everybody in the world wants to meet Holly, the Gigglepot, and myself, the Blue-Eyed Boy. I travel. I've been on the road for 2.5 years now. So I've been moving. I don't actually live anywhere. I've been.
We would call that a nomad.
Yeah. Last year I did 27 countries, 33 states in the US, and 123 hosted wine dinners around the world. But the marketing around it was phenomenal, because now people whether we're in Korea, Denmark, Mexico, US, New Zealand, Australia, everyone knows the Blue-Eyed Boy because they've been drinking it for so long that when we come in, they're like, "Oh my God, I've been drinking you for a long time." And sometimes that sounds a little weird when they say it to me. Yep. But at the same time, it's such a blessing. I was 10 years old in the photo, and I didn't understand how much an impact that wine would have globally at that age. But now, where I see it, people all around the world love it. And bringing joy to people's face when they're like, I've drank 100, even 10 bottles of Blue-Eyed Boy, and they're like, "I get to meet you." It's pretty amazing. It's a very special moment for, every time that gets to happen with people around the world.
When you talk about the marketing, when your mom and dad try to stick with the spirit of who we're talking with here, started this, as the parents, they're going to get older. If you include the kids and they're going to be in the family business, the longevity of that is like brilliant, because you guys aren't going anywhere anytime soon.
It's funny. It's so funny, because when Holly and I never wanted to be a part of the business. It's actually really crazy. I know it's bad to say on a recording. Don't hold it against me. But yeah, Holly and I both did stuff outside of school. I traveled around the world. I started up restaurants, nightclubs, bars. Holly went and studied psychology and forensics and criminology.
Wow.
At Melbourne University. And if you asked us both at 16 years old, we both were like, "Nah, we're going to go do different things." And I was overseas when I was 18. And then Dad gave me a phone call, and he goes, "Look, I need your help," because I grew up in the vineyard, and it was 2015. It was a really hot year. He goes, "Look, I need your help because we got some issues going on in the vineyards, and I don't have time to train somebody." I was in Mexico working at the time, and I was a surf lifesaver, bumming around on the beach. And I was like, "Dad, I don't want to come home. Like, I'm having the best time. I'm 19 years old, having the best time. Like, what am I doing?"
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm booking you a flight. Get on the flight." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "If you're going to pay for it, sweet. If I don't have to pay to get back to it, so I got back. The day that I got back, there was a contract on the kitchen table when I got home, and then I had to be home for 2 years. This was, for those of you listening about Mollydooker, that was so my parents actually separated in 2016. So since 2017, my mum has become the outright owner of Mollydooker. So at that time was the start of their okay, what's going to happen with the business. So it was a time that Mum and Dad wanted me to stay there to be able to help through that transition of Mum and Dad separating. But yeah, Dad is still my best friend. He is our biggest ambassador. He loves it, buys it, drinks it. If you look him up on Facebook, his name's Sparky Marquis. He's a full-time beach walker, drinking Mollydooker, Guinness, and Jack Daniels. Everyone's like,
"Oh my God."
Yeah, he's on the beach.
His life. That's right. Now he's on the beach.
Yeah.
I think he's like, how can I make this swap?
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, what Mum has done since 2017 is unbelievable. We'll go through that a little bit later. But yeah, it's very creative. When you talk about fun, we had a slogan for a long time. Mollydooker is where wine goes to have fun. You know, we try and right now is the perfect time in the community of wine. Every single person is talking like we need to make wine more fun. I'm like, we've been doing it for 17 years. You mean?
Right.
Like we've been doing it since day one. And they're like, oh, we need to sell. Like more people need to be doing this because beer, spirits, cocktails, seltzers. You know how they sell it as? Delicious. That's how they sell it. It's delicious and it's fun. And wine, you know how we sell it as? Well, it's history and it's this soil and it's this brand. And people are like, I don't care about that as much anymore. The new age.
Yeah, delicious and fun.
The new age.
We have our own rating system.
We haven't used it because we have guests on and all the wines have been amazing.
Yeah,
we have our own 6-point rating system. And like the top one is phenomenal, and then the last one is pliff. Pliff. I don't know how you spell it, but it's pliff.
But it works. Yeah, I got it. Yeah,
it gets the point across. Absolutely.
Box of Shiraz, big, bold, rich, everything you want out of you know. And so many people are like, I don't like Shiraz. That's the hardest thing that not the hardest, the most upsetting thing that I have to experience because Shiraz is beautiful. And when and there's so many in America, Americans listen to other Americans. I love this country. I live here. I say I live in the US, but I spend about 6 or 7 months a year here, and then Europe and Asia. And in America, once somebody, if somebody's uneducated about wine and they hear someone educated about wine saying, I don't like Shiraz, then they instantly think, okay, well, I shouldn't like Shiraz either. You know what I mean? Right. Or if they have a bad Shiraz, which there are bad Shirazes out there, then they have one bad one, they're like, I don't like Shiraz. But if they have one bad steak, they don't stop eating steak. Do you know what I mean?
No, you just have the wrong Shiraz.
One bad Cabernet. If you have one bad Cabernet, you don't stop drinking Cabernet. You know what I mean? And so, you know, my mum has been awarded the best Shiraz producer in the world 3 times by Wine Spectator. So the Shiraz that we produce is definitely out of the spectrum. I love when people say, I don't like Shiraz. I pour them a glass. I'm like, try this. They drink it. They're like, oh, love it. What is it? I'm like, Shiraz.
Yeah, it's kind of a bait and switch thing. And there's a trust issue when you go into it like that. But you know, rolling the dice, that there's a really good chance they're going to like it. And so, you don't like Shiraz? Well, yeah, here, how about try this one? Oh, this is fantastic. What is this? Yeah, it's Shiraz. No, if you don't like Shiraz, you haven't had the right one.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah, if you're buying a $7 Shiraz from, you know, don't want to name any brands, but
you can say we're on the front. We don't bash any brands except for one. And it's the one that makes 1 trillion cases of wine a year. I don't know if it's a trillion, but it could be. Yeah, we
16 million. I actually love that company that you're talking about. And I'll tell you a story offline if you need me to. But in farming in Australia is the highest rate of suicide in the country. It's a little bit of a dark turn on the podcast, but what John Casella has done, Yellowtail, is he paid everybody market value for what they wanted. In 2004, they wanted to, there was such a big vintage, and he bought everybody's product on market value. People couldn't sell it. You know, there's big Treasury accolade, all these companies that weren't buying wine, like ripping up contracts because like we don't need all the fruit. And he went and bought everybody. You know, so say you wanted to sell fruit for $1,000 a ton, he didn't come in and say, well, you can't sell it, I'll buy it for $400. He goes, no, I'll buy it for $1,000. So he's such a stand-up human being. He runs an amazing business. He makes wine for the masses. Guess what? He does. And guess what? We need that.
Well, he had a blue ocean strategy.
Shall I explain Blue Ocean? Yeah, Blue Ocean strategy is?
Well, so if you look at the ocean, and the red part of the ocean is where all the sharks are and everything is getting eaten up. The blue ocean, there's nobody there, and you are doing something that's really never been done before. So you got this whole blue ocean in front of you. You don't have a lot of competition with the sharks.
Make sure you put that back in the cap before you shake it, because otherwise you'll get it. You'll spill. Yeah, make sure
I think I did. I did. Thank you for that. Yeah, that's the seal, isn't it?
So, Phil, this is the best wine that we make.
I wonder why, Luke. What is this one called, Luke?
I would say it's 100% Shiraz, it's 100% American oak, and it's 100% delicious because it's named after me. Okay, don't laugh too much. But yeah, no, it's a very iconic wine. But now, so we're going to go through 4 different Shirazes: Boxer, Blue Eye Boy, Cut, and Velvet Glove. So what we're doing is we're going up in what we call fruit weight. My mum came to an understanding of what fruit weight is, or built the measurement. It's the silky sensation, memory of fruit, of how far back it goes on your palate before the wine stops. And then you see the prickly sensation and structure, which is acid, alcohol, and tannin. So so we're not bound by vineyards. It's not as if this vineyard goes into this barrel, goes into this bottle. That's not how we do it. Everything that we do is built off quality. So instead of starting at Velvet Glove, most wineries work off a pyramid structure. They make their best wine at the top of the pyramid, and everything is a declassification of their number one wine. So everything is a byproduct of it. Whereas at Mollydooker, we're from Australia, so we do everything upside down. Okay, so we don't start from the top. We actually start from the base. Our most important wine is the Boxer. We make it every single year. And if there's any fruit that overqualifies the Boxer, we then make it to Blue Eye Boy. Anything over Blue Eye Boy, we upclassify to Carnival. Anything over that goes to Velvet Glove. But there are some years we don't produce those wines. Like Carnival of Love, we didn't produce for 3 years. Not because we didn't want to, but because we didn't get to the quality. So when you try this now, even though it's another 100% Shiraz, same 2021 vintage, you can actually see that silky sensation going further down your tongue, that complexity. And then at about 80% of the way down your tongue, it literally stops. It literally draws a line. It's a crazy sensation, and we only really get it with our wines.
So this is, like you said, the 2021 Mollydooker Blue Eye Boy. I'm noticing a different bottle shape too on this, Luke.
Yeah. So this year it's a burgundy shaped bottle. Where everyone says, "Why do you put Shiraz in a burgundy bottle?" And I asked my mum, and she's like, "Because I can, because I can do whatever I want."
It's not a winery, damn it.
Yeah,
there's really cool.
There's no rule.
Did she just have a birthday?
Yeah, on 25th of April. Yeah. And on the 24th of April this year, we actually opened the very first and only Robert Parker wine tasting room at our winery in Australia. Not sure if you saw that, but yeah.
Well, I do have a question here about the Noe Parker wine experience. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So we've been working on it for about 5 years. So Bob Parker, he is a left-hander. He is a Mollydooker.
Yeah, he is.
And he's been super iconic to our, super instrumental to our success of Mollydooker. Our first vintage, he ranked the Boxer Shiraz the #1 valued red wine in the world, the Two Lafite the second best valued red wine in the world, and the Maitre the 4th best valued red wine in the world. You drank them today. And so we had 35,000 cases worth of wine. We sold out in 17 days. So he's been a big impact to us. It's been a big impact to us, and so 5 years ago we asked permission from Bob to see if we could name our new wine taster. So it's a full pitch black room, full sensory, and we educate people. It only happens once a month, but we got a beautiful painting of him, and Mum Holly and I in the room, and so it's teaching people how he invented the 100-point wine system. So it's like it's all blind, like you don't know which wines you're drinking, and you go through the experience of how he started and so we worked a lot with him. We were with him 2 months ago in Maryland where he lives. We had a cool event with him, hanging out with him and his wife. So yeah, been a massive impact to us as a family. To be able to launch that experience and have a wine room named after Robert Parker, it's a blessing. So
you do these once a month?
Yeah. At the moment,
all 3 of you are trying to be in the room together.
No.
Okay.
Well, on the release, we were, because it was super important for us as a family. But now, it would mainly be my sister. So my Holly is my tasting room manager. She's 5 foot nothing and a rocket. That woman is unbelievable. Unbelievable. She's the smartest one out of our whole family. That woman will take our business further forward than we could have ever imagined. She's so yeah, it's so exciting to see her come into the family. But you know, she didn't want any part of it. And then we were going to hire a new cellar door manager, and I called Mum. I was like, Sarah, why are we trying to hire somebody else? We've got the perfect candidate right in front of us, and we haven't talked to her. And so I was like, if she knew the salary that we're going to pay, because Holly's starting another business, so she's like a tiny homes business on our winery.
Oh,
so,
nice.
So we've ripped out some vineyards actually, and so she's building homes in the heart of a vineyard. So like you wake up and there's vineyards around you that we work in.
These will be where people can rent.
Yeah. So it's premium luxury accommodation, and it's going to be called Rare Earth Retreats. So the company is called Rare. So that's Holly's. Yeah, Holly's put in $1 million. You know, like not her own, got investors and all that. It's like, and so the homes are beautiful, fully economic, sustainable, and off grid. Just gorgeous. So that we'll launch that in August this year. But yeah, so now that Holly's been doing that, I was like, we need to get Holly on board. And so she's revolutionized the cellar door, the tasting room. We're the busiest tasting room in McLarenville. The spend per head, like it's full silver service, sit down experience. But yeah, I couldn't talk higher of my mom and my sister. Both of them, I'm surrounded by some amazing women and some amazing leaders in our company that is, I'm just excited about the next steps of future Mollydooker.
Well, I have 3 things to say about that little rant you just went through. One is it's a great thing to be able to remind people we have the Wine Time Fridays series, Women in Wine, where we actually feature women in wine because it's becoming more and more increasingly popular, I guess, to find women in wine. It's fantastic. Number 2, you have high praise for your sister. I've never heard a brother say something about that, about their sister. And number 3, you call your mom Sarah. So that is you guys, mom Sarah, that's right. Just so much fun and just vivaciousness in this whole brand.
Yeah. No, we
talk about the wine word of the week, which we just
talked about. Yes, I think we should do that. It is the social web wine word of the week, which is actually this week the wine words of the week, which is fruit weight.
Which you just talked about.
Which you just talked about, because it is different. Fruit weight is a wine term, but it's more of the weight or the perception of the weight and density of flavors in wine on the palate. But you have a different, we talked about it, but you didn't really go deep about it.
Yeah.
The wines that we are drinking in the order of fruit weight.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
let's go a little deeper on that.
Yeah. So as I said, so mum came to an understanding of how to measure it. And so, as I said, it's the silky sensation memory of fruit, of how far back it goes on your palate. So if you put a wine in your mouth, so it's all measured on your tongue. So the measurement is on your tongue, and it is 100% subjective. Okay. So you get to see it, but we'll do it together. So when you put a wine in your mouth and you swirl it around, then you swallow it and you think about it, like, okay, how is that sitting on my tongue? How is that flavor? And if it doesn't even make it to the tip of your tongue, like if there's nothing, if it's just insignificant, we classify that as 0% fruit weight or vodka. Okay. All right. But if it coats the full flat area of your palate, so just say it coats the full flat area just before it starts to lip backwards, that's what we classify as 65% fruit weight. And then if it coats all the way down your tongue, side your cheeks, everything, that is 100% fruit weight. So we have over 80 vineyards that we own, manage, and operate on, and we taste everything like blindly. What we're doing is, so we're not having a premeditated experience. So as I say, instead of everything being a byproduct of Velvet Glove, our #1 wine, we don't produce Velvet Glove every year. If we do, because if we don't get to that quality, we won't put it in the bottle. And we have to unanimously decide. So we could all be on the tasting bench, and you could say, Phil, You guys could say it was 76 fruit weight, and then I say it's 74. 76 goes into Blue Boy, but 74 goes into Boxer. So then all the fruit would go into Boxer because I represent 1/3 of the world. You know what I mean? So we always, it's a really crazy experience. But as you tried with this one, you can see that silky sensation. And then we're going to go to Carnival of Love, and that silky sensation goes further down your tongue. So it's a really cool experience because I don't know any other suppliers. I don't know any wine producers that's got 4 Shirazes or 4 Cabernets that you can see that stylistic. They're all made exactly the same way. They're all from McLaren Vale, Langhorne Creek. They're all American oak. They all have the watering program. But what that shows is 2021 Blue Eye Boy that you've got in your glass and a 2016 Blue Eye Boy, they've got the same fruit weight, but they could come from different vineyards. So if a vineyard one year performs really well and just has a phenomenal year, it can go up the scale, and then the next year it might go down the scale. So what it is it's instead of being, we would say Mollydooker, we've never had a bad vintage, we just won't make the wine. So Velvet Glove, we've had 17 vintages, we've made it 12 times, but if we made it all 17 years, that would have been bad vintages, but we didn't make it in those years, so we've never had a bad vintage.
It's like Opus 1. They do not make an Opus 1. They don't bottle an Opus 1 every year because sometimes the fruit just isn't worthy of the name. And so it's really admirable because it's hard to do. But once you have this tiered system that you have the fruit to bottle wine, but sometimes that fruit is so good and so perfect that you will put it in that upper tier bottle, which is a lot of fun. We're going to take one more break. When we come back, we're going to work on having fun in a carnival of love.
Pretty much.
In a velvet glove. That rhymed. Welcome back to Wine Time Fridays with Shelley and Phil and the blue-eyed boy, Luke Marquis. Am I saying that right, Marquis?
Yeah, Marquis. So most people say it's Marquee, but we always say it's Marquis because we're Australian, not French.
Well, in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, Canada, we have a major road. It's Marquis Road.
That's right.
And it's not Marquee. You would think it would be in Canada, but no.
Yeah.
But also in Prince Albert, it's all Prince Albert, Prince Edward, Prince Harry, everything. Prince, Victoria Day, Marquis.
This is why you want to do that.
Oopsie.
So talk, Shelley. I'm going to go get a towel.
What did you do? Anyway, is your wine available in Canada?
Yes.
I know it is. And Calgary for sure.
It's in Calgary?
Yeah, we sell a lot of wine in Calgary. Ontario, it's done directly through our importer, Breakthrough Beverage. So, but you can buy it, and we're in all the kegs. So the Keg Steakhouse, they pour us Mollydooker, the Boxer, in every single location.
Good get.
And in British Columbia, so we're in the BC liquor stores, but then a lot of restaurants also. In Nova Scotia, we do a little bit. SAQ is a very hard company to where we always say Mollydooker, we're an Australian wine brand, but we actually built this company in the United States. So we always say Mollydooker, we're not Australian, we're Mollydooker. You know, so when people tell me, oh, Australian wine's gone down the hill, I was like, we're selling more wine than ever because we kind of transcend all. I don't like the word trend. If you're successful because of a trend, that's not success. You should create your own success. You know, and so that's what we've done. So yeah, you can buy it in a lot of places, but Saskatchewan, you can't buy it because they got really high taxes over 14.5% alcohol. So where everything of ours is over 14.5% alcohol, so we don't work there. But then you can buy it in all 50 states in the US. So
2021 Mollydooker Carnival of Love Shiraz.
Look at the back label. That's cool.
It's just
it's
so
like
much.
A circus bus.
Yeah, it really is.
You know what's really fun on the back of those labels? Can you see that little tear off tab? Look at yeah.
Yes.
You see that?
Yeah.
Tear that tab off. Can you just carefully the perforated tab? No, it's on the other side.
Right here. Yep. Oh, well, it's perforated. Oh, yes, of course. There we go. Carefully, you say. Oh boy, this is good. We can do this on camera.
Cool. So that's it. But now pull it away from you. Yep. Okay. So this here allows you to remember what wine you drank. All right. But Phil, you feeling fun, Phil? Ready?
Oh yeah, I am.
Okay. Now I need you to trust me. I need you to trust me. Okay. I want you to.
I get to lick this, don't I?
Lick it. Lick it. Lick the back of it.
Lick it good.
Yeah, and stick on your forehead. Stick on your forehead.
Oh yeah, I've seen some of these.
And then you become that bottle of wine for the rest of the day, okay? If you wake up with 4 of those on your head, you drank a lot of Mollydooker, okay?
So many things to choose from to put on the front. I told you, Shelley, this is going to be a good one. We have been looking forward to this for literally 2.5 months. Formally, informally for longer than that, because we really are huge fans of your wine, regardless of what I have sticking on my forehead.
So let's talk about this wine, because this is an iconic wine in the world of wine. Talk me through flavor profiles that you guys are getting, and I'm gonna trip you out a little bit when I talk to you about some technical things of it.
Okay. I just had a taste of it. I've been trying to taste both the unshaken and the shaken just to get the perspective.
So, Shelley, what flavor profiles can you? What are we tasting?
I'm getting raspberries,
Blackberries, boysenberry.
There's a little pepper thing going on. I don't know why I would say white pepper, but I would say white pepper. It's hard to get the full feel with something sticking on my forehead.
You're all confused. Everything's out of balance. Everything's out of balance.
Oh, whack.
So, all American oak. Everything goes into brand new American oak. All right, but how much percentage of it do you reckon is new oak? Kind of misled you. How much do you reckon goes into new oak?
I would say 50%.
Cool. Shelley, you want to guess?
What percentage of all the wine you mean?
No, this
Carnival of Love goes into new oak.
It has to. I will say 70.
Cool. So everything that we do is a creative solution to an issue. All right. This here is what we call 100% Shiraz, but 300% new American oak. So what happens is once we finish fermentation, we put it into a brand new American oak barrel for 90 days. Then we pull it out and put it into a second brand new American oak barrel. Then we pull it out into a third brand new American oak barrel for 90 days. So 3 brand new oak barrels, 300%. But the thing is, you can't taste it. It's not over oaked. Oak is like salt in food. You need enough of it to make it pop. And because we've got so much fruit intensity, all right, don't look at the back of the label. Don't look at the back of the label right now. But what percent? Don't look at it, Shelley. What percentage alcohol do you think this is sitting at? If you didn't know,
I'll say 14.5.
It's 16.
I did.
It's
16.5. Wow.
But
you're starting to get up into the point where you've got these. What's the really sweet, the late harvest and the ice? Yeah, those wines that are 18 to 20%.
Yeah. But
you're
the thing is,
pushing
so
that on this.
It's so integrated.
It really is.
We've tripped so many wineries, wine professionals, somms, masters of wine. They've all been like, I can't. This is wild. They didn't know. It's a really, people don't understand who we are because we do so many different things. So people don't know what to think of Mollydooker because we do, which is cool, which is fun.
It is cool. It keeps them guessing. I love it. There's something to be said for staying in your lane, knowing your audience and all this. But if you can touch all of these bases that you want to and do it well, why not? Ooh, wind down. Why not?
So there's a very famous candy bar called a Cherry Ripe. It's in Australia. For those of you listening, look it up. You can get it on, I think you can get it on Amazon, I'm pretty sure. Order it. It's amazing. What it is, it's cured cherries, like macerated cherries with so sugar syrup. So get sugar, melt it down, get cherries, macerate it, soak them in together, wrap it in dark chocolate, and then put coconut with it. That's what I always get when I taste this. It's that dark chocolate, red, black cherry, coconut, and then you get fresh plum, spice, chocolate mocha, plum jam, licorice. You're like, it's super expressive.
You just sound like Gary Vaynerchuk. Do you know who Gary Vaynerchuk is?
Yeah, I know who Gary is.
Yeah, you take this and this and this, and you mix them all together, and you smash them all up, and then you pour it on. That's what I'm getting in this glass. That's really good. Oh my gosh, this is.
It's called a cherry what?
Cherry Ripe, R-I-P-E. Yep. So this wine, Carnival Love, has been Wine Spectator. We've been awarded the #1 Shiraz in the world 3 times. It's been as high as the 2nd best wine in the entire globe. So it's a very special wine, part of our portfolio. We've made it of 17 vintages. We've made it 14 times. Of that 14 times, 6 has been in the top 100 wines in the world. So, almost it's over 40% of the time that we make this wine is in the top 100 wines in the world. So it's a pretty awesome statistic.
That's a huge feather in your cap, for sure. How many different?
You've had 17 vintages.
So, we'll go through that. 17 is our lucky number. So, Mum started studying wine when she was 17 years old. Mum started studying wine when she was 17 years old. We started Mollydooker in March 2006 with $17 in our bank account. Our first vintage of Mollydooker, we had 35,000 cases worth of wine. We sold out in 17 days. In 2017, Mum took over the company on her own. She got awarded the best female winemaker operator in Australia, followed by the best business in South Australia. And then the 2021 vintage that you're drinking right now is Mum's 17th vintage of Mollydooker. So it's a beautiful story in itself.
Yeah.
Well, and now we're in a bit of trouble because next year will be your 18th vintage. Now what are you going to do?
Still keep drinking.
So yeah.
You'll have to make 17 different Shiraz.
Oh, there you go. And so a great segue. How many different wines are you making with all your white, your sparklers, and your red?
14 different SKUs.
Oh, well, you can have 3 more.
Yeah, you can have 3 more. You'll need to next year. So there you go. Well, do we do this? We're gonna. So there's something that Luke shared with me about this. So I'm going to show this to the people that have gone over to YouTube. This is what this wine comes in. It's a velvet bag that holds the velvet glove. And it's, no, I'm not going to. Luke, I would actually like you to explain all the intricacies of this, from the glass to how it's put in the bag. As you're saying that, I'm going to remove it so that you can see what we're talking about.
So yeah, before you open it, Mum has always trained our whole team, and she's always said, you can taste something by looking at it. So that's why food photos, that's why all that kind of stuff is so awesome, because you can taste it visually. So visual is the first sensory of taste. So Mum always says, look at something for 5 minutes and just take everything in, and then start to imagine it. All right. And then smell it for 5 minutes and then finally taste it. So what happens is you go through a roller coaster of emotions, but at the same time, this incredible experience. So Velvet Glove is our flagship wine. We actually hand polish every single bottle before we sell it. So when you pull it out of the bag, which Phil is about to do right now, slowly, as you pull it out, that M on the top, and then if you keep pulling it, keep going. Keep going.
Do you see the M?
Yeah, pull it all the way out.
There we go. Oh, there's 2 M's. Okay, got it. There we go. And pull all the way out.
Yeah, and that Velvet Glove. So everything lines up. So we've hand polished every single bottle. Mum designed this bottle to be like the shape of a woman, curvy and elegant. And then if you actually feel the label, it's actually a pure velvet label. So, so we always say Velvet Glove is our epitome of fruit weight, rich, opulent with every flavor profile that you want in wine. And then Velvet Glove is not just a wine, but it is an experience.
Well, talk me through the opening of this. I want to do it right. Do I peel off this tag?
Oh, no. So what you got to do, so right before the cap, where the cap is, there's a little, you can tear that little bit. So right on the top of it, like where the cap twists, there's a little tear piece. Can you tear that on both sides? Just tear it.
So. Oh, yeah. There we go. Look at that.
So just tear the bottom of it. So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, take that off.
This
so now wait. No. So the side flaps now, pull them down towards you. Pull them down towards the bottom of the bottle. No, not that one. The other side.
Oh, these sides. Got it.
The wings. Yeah, pull the wings down. Pull the wings all
the way.
So
do I? How far down do I pull them down?
All the way down, so that's at the bottom of the twist. Yep, there. Cool. Now put the back. It sounds super complicated for people listening to the podcast. Oh my gosh.
No, well, they're going to have to go to the YouTube channel. So
then now, yeah. So put the top back on. Put the top back on. Like put the top piece. Yeah. Yep. So you weren't supposed to. And then just twist it up. Yep. Now open it. Open it.
Is there any special instructions on this?
Just open the bottle. Just open it. You go.
Phil, shut up and open it. Okay, same principle.
Yep. So now that you've opened it, now those wings. Now put the wings back up. Now put the wings back up perfectly.
There we are.
Yeah. Okay. Now pour a little bit out. Perfect. It's just so that, because if you just open it normally, it breaks the wings and then it looks a little bit dirty.
We don't want dirty looking wine.
No, it has to be elegant.
Do you want to do the Mollydooker shake on the Velvet Glove?
Come on. Let's go.
Yeah.
Come on.
There we go.
If you take any of them, you better do this one.
So I have to hold it like this?
Upside down. Shake it upside down. Give it and shake it like a cocktail. Get it. Go. Come on, Phil. Give her a round of applause. Get her involved.
Come on. That's right.
And there.
Okay. So we're going to crack this again. This is so much fun.
And then close it again.
Really snap, crackle, and pop Rice Krispies.
All right, again.
There you go.
2 really good Mollydooker shakes. Go on. Perfect, Shelley. Get it.
Well done. This is great. All right, honey. Well done. So the last time we had the Carnival Love was a $90 price point, US dollars. This 2021 Mollydooker, very sought after Velvet Glove. We are very, very happy and genuinely pleased to have this in our class. Is $220. So,
have you ever had Velvet Glove before, Phil and Shelley?
Never.
No.
So
nope, not at all.
This one will coat over 95% plus fruit weight. But what's really cool about this one is so delicate, so silky. A lot of people ask me, where did the name come from for Velvet Glove? And like, it named itself. When you put it on your palate, it coats your tongue in a Velvet Glove sensation of fruit.
And it really does. I mean, it's very smooth all the way back.
And I would say it's a little bit like dried lavender, like rose petals on the nose. That really pretty, just that pretty. But then on the palate, it's just, as I said, envelopes everything that you want. It's really cool. We love it. Very blessed to be able to represent this wine.
So this one is allocated. You do not make a whole lot of this wine, do you?
Sometimes we don't make it at all. Yeah. So we only really sell it to premium on premise and then to mainly our club membership. I'm
not going to lie, Luke. Had this been I can take this off now. Had this had cork, we probably would have used the Corvin on this so that we could lay it down and save for a while. But it's not. It's a screw cap, and people 98%, give or take, of the wines coming out of Australia are with screw cap. We had an Australian wine the other day that did have a cork, but it's very few and far between. It's a good thing. These wines are pretty much meant to be drank fairly soon, but some of these you can lay down for a while.
Oh yeah, we can age our wines for 20 plus years easily.
And the nitrogen in that helps with that process.
Yeah, nitrogen is just a preservative, same as sulfur. Yeah, these wines will age for, so many people, like, because they're so big and bold, a lot of people made accusations a long time ago, like, these wines won't age. And I've had people come and apologize to us. They say, I'm so sorry that we used to advertise that they wouldn't age. We've tasted some of your older stuff and it's wild. And so, we used to, so you know that the Screw Cap just celebrated their 60th year of production.
I did not know that.
So they've been around for 60 years, Screw Caps. And so there's so much study now that actually says screw caps are better than cork. It's more sustainable, better closure. But again, the tradition of cork.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And you can have bad cork.
That's the one tradition I do like.
It's nice to get the pop.
Yeah.
Well, the good thing, you know what I say? We've all got smartphones. All right. So you can get that pop on the sound of your phone. So just crack it and then go pop, and then there you go.
Well, there's your millennial for you, Shelley.
Well, that's the thing. It's just like, I would say, would you want the pop and then it'd be a bad bottle, or would you want a good bottle and you drink the whole thing? And that's where.
Well, that's a lot of.
Yeah. So about 10% of bottles with corks are corked.
Yeah.
And so, do you ever have a bad screw cap? No, ever.
Not that we've seen. Like, I'm not saying ever, but nothing that we've seen.
So I just had a sip of the unshaken Velvet Glove, and it's already softened up in just a few moments in my glass.
We would say with that unshaken glass, give it a good stir. It does the same.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
but there's just something about the Mollydooker shake that is just it's a party friend, and it also releases some unbelievably smooth, silky wine that's in the bottle. I love that.
And next time you walk into a restaurant and you see someone shaking a bottle of wine, you'll be like, oh, they sell Mollydooker here. You know what I mean? Because it creates a moment, it creates a memory, it creates a culture of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying that other wines that don't use the nitrogen in there, you can also shake those and they'd be just fine. It doesn't like bruise or damage the wine. I mean, you talk about bottle shock all the time.
No, I'm not saying that. No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only for us.
Yeah. Okay. Because of the design and the science. Okay, got it.
And what is
there are people that say they shake their other wines and it works, but I can't endorse that because I can't agree.
Sure.
I don't disagree, but I can't say from my scientific background.
Yeah, fair enough. We're going to take one last break. And when we come back, I want to find out from Luke himself, because Shelley, you love McLaren Vale.
I love
Shiraz a lot. In general, what separates McLaren Vale from the rest when we come back? Here we go. Welcome back to Wine Time Fridays with Shelley and Phil, episode 214 on May 24th. What
Victoria Day?
Victoria Day with Luke Marquis of Mollydooker Wines, the blue-eyed boy, which this was the best wine of the whole bunch. The absolute best. You should lead with that one. That should be a $225 bottle of wine, Luke. Just saying.
Are you sure?
We still have in our glass the Velvet Glove, which is their pinnacle wine, and it's fantastic. But Luke, I want to find out, because McLaren Vale has a reputation of producing some outstanding wines. What is it about that terroir and that? Do you call it AVA down there? Is it a appellation? What is it?
Oh, yeah. It doesn't have its own appellation. We can call it McLaren Vale, but the AVA is just it's just southeastern Australia.
Okay.
It's crazy. But we're working on a few things as as a community for sure. But yeah, McLaren Vale is actually an old glacier land. So, so millions of years ago, there was a glacier that went through into McLaren Vale. So it's just beautiful. As I said, it's not a valley, it's a vale. So a vale is rolling hills. So a valley is everything is in the guts of it. But we've got beautiful Wollonga Hill Range. We got Clarendon. We got the then we got further south. We got the Limestone Coast. It's it's a wild area, really close to the ocean. So anywhere from 3 to 10 miles from the ocean, depending on how far inland you go. So you get these beautiful Mediterranean kind of climates. Like coastal breeze. So we can. There's a lot of alternate varieties, a lot of Italian varieties that do super well in it. We do get very hot. We do get very hot, and we're in Australia. Australia is always warm. The hottest day that I ever experienced in the vineyard was 124 degrees air temperature, but it was 132 degrees in the vineyard. What happened was the heat, because if there's no airflow, the heat just keeps populating. So that was a hot day. Not good for the vineyards, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
yeah. And so, but the region has got beautiful different sandy loam, sandy soils. You've got red Biscay clay. You've got black Biscay clay. You've got red dirt, you've got limestone, there's pockets of it in so many different areas. So there's, whether you go from Two Hands, Penfolds, Henschke, Yalumba, Mollydooker, those are the big boys, that play, globally. But there's some amazing little small producers, Samuel's Gorge, Justin McNamee. You've got Silent Noise. You've got even Becker's. For those of you, I know you can't really get Becker's here in the US, but if you can, Toby and Emmanuel Becker's. Toby is probably the best viticulturist that I've ever met, and Emmanuel, his wife, French origin. They make some some of the most decadent wines that I've ever had in my life. So love them as a family, love them as a producer, super small. But yeah, McLaren Vale produces some really eclectic, unique, fun wines that are enjoyed. When people drink McLaren Vale, they're like, man, this is awesome. They're not as peppery. Barossa, north of us, they're a little bit more peppery, a little bit more reductive. They still make phenomenal wines, but there's this delicacy, a little bit bluer fruit that comes from McLaren Vale instead of the blacker fruit from Barossa.
Well, that's the beauty of different terroirs, right?
100%. We say it adds to complexity.
Well,
so with all that heat that you have you had any fires close to you?
Oh, good question.
No, not for us. Not for us. We've been blessed by it, but yeah, no fire. The big fires that happened in 2020 in Australia, that was all on the East Coast. So where Adelaide is, we're in the middle at the bottom on the coast. So we were blessed that the fires, the 50 million acres that got burned, they weren't anywhere close to us. So it affected and killed a lot of animals, people, which is super sad for us as a world, not just as Australia, as human beings. You don't want to wish that on anybody. So it was a very sad time for us as a globe when that happened. But at the same time, we weren't affected directly amidst any of those fires in 2020 or any other time, which is we're thankful for.
Luke just mentioned a few producers already down in his neck of the woods as well as Valley, but some of the wines we had this week, like that segue, two, because we recorded last night and we're recording today, so we have back-to-back. We enjoy a Welland Old Hands Cabernet Sauvignon. That was Australian.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And it is really good. Again, people just don't expect a good cab from Australia. We had one tonight, and the one we had last night from Welland Old Hands was pretty damn good. And we had a Barrister Becca's Vineyard Cabernet Franc from our friends over Barrister, and I believe the fruit is from Walla Walla. So yeah, I think so. So I have two more questions for Luke, and they're loaded questions. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Okay.
We don't normally ask a question like this, Luke, but how was the recent harvest from this vintage this year? I mean, we're in May. We don't ask this in May, but you guys came out of your harvest a couple months ago because you're down the other side of the equator. How was this year's harvest?
We just did our biggest ever crush. So we did 1,491 ton through our facility. So we're growing. And, you know, the thing about, you know, when you say you wouldn't think about Cabernet from Australia, there's so much value in Australian wines. There's so much value.
Yes, there is.
$30 to $60 price range, and you put it up along anything from Italy, California, from anywhere around the world. You know, Argentina, Spain, whatever, and there's that. But so yeah, the value of Australian wines is untouched. But regarding the harvest, it was awesome. Like it was a wet. We had a quite wet December, so it was fast approaching. So like we thought it was all going to be real delayed because of everything that happened, but then it literally came on like a rocket. We had 32 casuals that we come in our winery. We got them in the week before to do training, and then the next week. So our biggest crush process day was 148 ton in 2016. That was the most we'd ever harvested and processed through our crusher on one day. That was back in 2016. But on day one of our harvest this year, we did 152 ton on day one. Wow. We just dumped it on it. We're like, you better be ready because we're crushing.
Hey, look, sometimes that's the best way you learn. Basically through a fire hose. And in this case, it's through a fire hose that's spitting out a bunch of grape juice, you know?
Yeah. And it was crazy to see that but yeah, it was awesome. It was phenomenal. We had one really hot week that put a lot of pressure under a lot of growers and a lot of harvesting crew. But otherwise, on either side of that was phenomenal. So we're 2024, 2023 was crazy. Honestly, 21, 2, 3, 4 for Australia. 2020 and 2019 were ridiculously hard, really tough, really tough. 18 was tough also. So 21 was the unicorn. 22 was just simple, small but simple. 23 was fun. 24 was fast. 24, yeah. So yeah, if I look at the last 4 years, 21 unicorn, 22 was beautiful but small. 23 was simple, and then 24 was fast.
So you typically for a Shiraz down in your neck of the woods, you'll be harvesting anywhere from the end of February to sometime at the end of April sort of thing, or early April.
Yeah. So yeah, we pick about 4 weeks later than anybody else because of our watering program. So we don't do the traditional dry farming. We irrigate our vineyards up to 8 hours of water a day. We're all watering all the way up until harvest, and so what that does is it slows the sugar increase down and allows the vineyard to stay on the fruit to stay on the vine for 4 weeks longer, because we control the sugar and allow this beautiful color fruit integration. And that's why you get the complexity and the beautiful opulent tannins, because if you leave it on the vine for longer, that tannin profile can really come out and become very decadent. So yeah, we start probably mid-March until mid-April. Most people start mid-Feb and finish mid-March. So,
do you have an aquifer that you're drawing from?
Yeah, it's recycled water. So a Californian man came out to Australia 26 years ago, and he said, "What are you guys doing with the recycled water? He's letting it into the ocean." We said, "Yep." So we started up a recycled facility where he captures all the water from homes, houses, and treats it and sells it back to wineries. So it's a completely closed loop. So it's 100% sustainable.
Oh, nice.
Wow. So cool.
So we've had all red wines this time. What white wines do you produce?
We produce 3 white wines and 1 rosé, but we only sell the rosé at our tasting room. But white wines that we produce is a variety called Verdelho, Portuguese variety, honeysuckle, citrus apple. My mum was 24 years old the first time she got awarded the best white wine producer in Australia.
Wow.
24 years old. And everyone's like, "Why do you make Verdelho?" And it was because it was my grandfather's favorite variety. So my mom made it for my grandfather, and then she's been, it's been an iconic wine for part of us.
That's so cool.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so I have one more question. Do you have a special story about you and Mollydooker?
Story about me and Mollydooker. Poor.
Or 7 stories?
We caused him to pause.
Yeah, I think it's a good question. Like, it's my family company, you know what I mean? So there's a million special stories, you know what I mean? And I think I think what I say the most enjoyable part of my job is going out and seeing customers like yourself, customers all around the world that have been drinking Mollydooker for so long, and I bring them joy that they get to meet a family member. You know, it's kind of hard to put one, or when people have never done the Mollydooker shake and they taste the 2 glasses and I see their eyes light up. I think that's my most enjoyable. When people are like, you shouldn't shake a wine, and then I'm like, just try the difference. Pre and post, and
just try the difference, damn it.
I think that's the most enjoyable thing. But I think Mollydooker, I think what's the most, what was the question again? Say it one more time. It's what's a unique what's a special time?
Yeah, a special story that jumps out. When you talk about the Mollydooker shake and watching people's eyes light up, that seems to happen quite often.
Every day.
Completely get it. Yeah, completely get it. What's something that you can kind of like put a pin in is that, oh my God, I just remember this moment so vividly and how it made an impression on me.
Oh, there's millions. I think
we have time for 100,000.
I think, oh man, that's
Shelley, you stumped him.
Honestly, I think this year, when I got to meet Bob Parker for the very first time, and I'll show you a photo. I'll get on my phone. There's a Bob and I together. But I think that was probably knowing the impact that he had on my family and on our, look at this for those of you looking. So this is Bob Parker and me.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So
that's so cool.
And so some other people have that same picture with you and them on their phone.
That's right. Some people, that's exactly right. Yeah. And so
people don't often get to meet the family members.
Yeah. So I think that was the just seeing how humble he was as a person. Like for those of you who haven't met him, I love it when people talk bad about people. I'm like, have you met him? They're like, no. I was like, well then that's
what I heard. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I couldn't believe how generous and humble he was with his time, how much he loved his wife. Like his wife was incredible. He can't walk now, like barely. So, but just he didn't know the impact that he had on our family. That if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here. Do you know what I mean? So
that's an influencer before influencer was a thing. To be honest.
Yeah. So he's written us some amazing. He's written us some amazing emails to my mom, to myself, to all of us about who we are. So yeah, I think that's probably earlier this year was pretty iconic because it's like meeting Einstein of wine.
Right. Right.
It's like meeting the Einstein of wine and then having him speak so profoundly about your company. I think that was probably the most iconic moment for me in my history.
Well, you talked about his generosity of time. We have to thank you for your generosity of time. You see what I did there?
Yeah, that's
pretty good, huh? And not only that, just the offering that you have with these wines are second to none. And ratings aside, ratings are great, but ultimately it's what people put in their mouth and really what experience they have with that. And every one of these, I'm pointing off to the side because we had too many wines to put on our little thing, but all fantastic wines in their own right, each individually. And I thank you for sharing those with us. We do have some things coming up. Today, the 24th, not only is it Victoria Day, it's also the anniversary of Judgment of Paris. Hey, Shelley.
That's true.
Yeah.
A significant day.
Is it? Speaking of significant, Robert Parker, which of course Luke just calls Bob, as he would. The Judgment of Paris also had significant meaning in the wine world here in the state. June 5th is Bubbly Day. The 10th is National Rosé Day. Blah, blah, blah. Rosé every day. The 11th to 16th is Prosecco Week. Prosecco is so good they give it a whole week. The 16th is Drink Chenin Blanc Day. And, of course, we have Kara and Keelan Dixon from Rosemary Manor on the first Friday of June to kick off Idaho Wine Month. Next week, we're going to finish off with a couple of Oregon wines to wrap up the Oregon Wine Month. Of course, this is also Aussie Wine Month, which, gosh, how did we get so lucky to have one Australian winery? It's Mollydooker. We should do this yearly, I think.
Every single year.
Every single year. A huge thanks to our sponsors today, Eternal Wine, Coeur D'alene Fresh, and, of course, CDA Gourmet. And with a little bit of knowledge, Shelley, first of all, Luke, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Shelley.
So,
thank you, Phil.
Honestly, we could go on and on. We have to respect time and the fact that there's sunshine outside. With a little bit of knowledge, wine becomes a lot less overwhelming. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Luke. We'll see you next week with a couple more Oregon wines.
Thank you for spending part of your day to wind down with Shelley and Phil. Remember, you can listen to any episode of the Wine Time Fridays podcast by visiting winetimefridays.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And join us on our Wine Time Fridays Facebook page, Instagram, or on Twitter, which is @VintageTweets, for daily conversation. Until next week, here's our toast to you. To health, wealth, abundance, gratitude, peace on earth, and of course, romance.
Shelley, you've been quite quiet over there. What's going on?
It's my fault.
I'm taking notes.
Yeah. Going so good so far?
Been awesome. Love it.